Welcome back to the No Morning Show, ladies and gentlemen. And you can tell on your screen right now, we have the Honorable Symon de Nobriga, the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister with the responsibility for communications, aka our line minister.
Yes.
Morning, good morning. Morning to everyone.
Good morning. Welcome to
morning,
the No
Natalie.
Morning Show.
Thank you very much.
We're excited to have you. I can't wait for us to be able to do it in person because, you know,
Yeah. Same,
so that
same
we
here.
can really give you the show of shows, you know.
All right, so this morning we're dealing with folklore, and we have the minister here to give us a story, a folk story. I feel like it's only right if we kick things off about dealing with folklore with a proper story. So, Minister, how much you know about folklore, really?
So, Rokas, I think people my age grew up with grandparents and parents who still shared those stories. My grandmother was originally from Arima, and so I got a lot of those types of stories. Not so much, and the truth is, my children don't get as many of those stories as I did, and maybe that's something I need to start doing.
Well, that's why we're here to fix that this morning.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
All right. So, what story are you giving us this morning?
So when Natalie reached out to me, I went to the hardworking folks at Nalis and said, look, I need a short story to read on TT. And of course, Nalis being Nalis is about 13 stories. But I didn't know how much time we would have today. So it's a very short story and it's on the Soucouyant, and that is one of my favorite folklore,
Is that
what you would
so?
call that? It is, but
Characters?
that's not a conversation for on here, Brokers. A senior attitude already.
All right. All right. What's the title of the story?
It is literally the Soucouyant.
The Soucouyant. All right. Let's go. Soucouyant.
Yeah. Okay. So one morning at about 2 o'clock, a farmer got up when he heard strange noises in his pen in the backyard. He went out to see what was wrong, and on looking closely at his animals, he saw something black against the neck of his best cow. Now, blood was dripping down his side of the neck, and he recalled that he had seen dried blood on another cow the morning before. And as he walked up to the animal, a ball of fire rose and darted outside, so he rushed out and saw it flying away. He realized that it was a Soucouyant that used to suck the blood of animals and people in the village. And every few months, this would happen, and much death and sickness were brought about through the loss of blood. So in the morning, he told his neighbors about the Soucouyant. And as they were afraid that more damage to life would be done by the creature, they decided to protect the village. And that night, the head of every house kept watch. The farmer hid in his pen, and just after midnight, the Soucouyant flew in. The man made a noise, and she flew away. He called out to the neighbors, and they all began following the ball of fire as it flew through the air. Word was passed on and on and on, and people kept tracking the flame until it started to descend. And when it landed at an old shack at the edge of the village where a wicked old woman lived. And she used to shout and curse any child who came near the house, and they were all afraid of her. Many persons were in time to see the old lady putting on her skin, for the Soucouyant always takes it off before going out at night to seek food. Now, the farmer and his friends planned to destroy the creature. So the next night, they waited at her house until she returned from her trip. They had rubbed salt and pepper inside the skin. Everybody knows that's how you get rid of a Soucouyant. When the Soucouyant returned and put on her skin, it began to burn her very much, and she started to hop about and sing. Now, I want to let you all know I cannot sing, so I'm not even going to try to sing. So I'm just going to see. She says, Kin, you don't know me. Kin, you don't know me. Picture that singing. Then they pushed her inside of a barrel, which they nailed up, and they rolled the barrel to a pond nearby and dumped it into the river. And from then on, no animal or person in that village was ever attacked by a Soucouyant again. The end.
Oh, not bad at all.
I pass muster.
Yes, but what you thought of the story though? I mean, these things are always so interesting how people, develop their beliefs and how they believe in things that, do you think we still have that kind of vulnerability in Trinidad and Tobago where we believe these stories?
I don't know. I tell you, I mean, I grew up with a grandmother who gave us those stories. You know, my mother gave us those stories, and at one point, I lived in St. Anne's, which is in town, but it almost feels like you're in the country. And we used to get a lot of those stories. Like if you go down to the parlor, they would always have somebody down there, and you would get those stories. But of course, St. Anne's is a community that's built around river, and you have hunters that are up there and that kind of thing. So a lot of that still forms part of the culture, or at least form part of the culture when I live there. It is. I don't think it is as prevalent anymore, though.
Yeah, I wonder if people still use salt and pepper to try to ward off evil spirits. That would be interesting.
I think only if they use it, if they're trying to make an evil spirit chow in Trinidad.
Evil spirit chow, I've never heard that one before.
No, well, I heard this story before in primary school, this exact story. It's only when the minister started reading, I recalled when I heard it. And having grown up in the country myself, I would have heard these stories, either in school or sometimes from an account of the elders, telling us about the Soucouyant or the larger bless and these things like that. And in this story, there's always some remedy or some way to ward off the evil spirit.
Yeah. My grandmother's favorite thing was Dwen. Everything about go and christen your child, you would turn it into a Dwen. Always.
Yes. So, Minister, do you know, the Soucouyant is the blood-sucking one. I am still trying to get familiar with the names. The Dwen is what, like the Jambi?
Is the unchristened children with their feet
unchristened children, their feet are backwards, correct. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I wonder if we have any of those. Well, we might have a few because not everybody christens their children.
We have plenty Dwen. No. They don't look like what we think they're supposed to look like. There are plenty Dwen out there.
And what is the Laja Bless?
I'll let you know.
Laja Bless is the woman who walks around. She has a cloven hoof as one leg and a normal leg.
You can tell me
she walks around attracting men to them.
But Minister, I'm feeling some type of way now as a woman in this little crew right now. How comes the evil spirit is always a woman?
Natalie, I think you are the answer that. The 3 men in Symon can answer that for you. You are the answer.
No, I am confused.
Ladies and gentlemen, confused. That is a politician. Well played, sir.
Rokas, you can answer that? I can answer that.
What I would say is that, that's not the only evil one. So I would say that there are male characters that are not necessarily good characters as well.
Yes.
So there's balance.
Blue Devil?
The Blue Devil can be
always played by male, yeah.
Yeah, they always play by male and they always want to take your money.
I thought that was a woman. Why are there these things mixed up so?
Oh, listen to me, you're not pulling me into this talk.
No, when you all talk about taking the money, I thought that would have been a woman thing. I didn't realize.
No, the Blue Devils, you have to pay them to pass. You have to pay the devil.
Correct.
Oh, well, I'm happy to know that you men like to take away money too.
Don't say that too loud, Natalie. Somebody might come trying to take your money.
I've none, so that's fine. Oh my God, but Minister, it's amazing that we are going to be having a conversation with Wendell Manoir about just how, these things have influenced our culture, our beliefs, our carnival especially. And we can talk about the Blue Devils that are so, prominent in our carnival. So to me, even though they are folklore, is that they have definitely influenced who we are as a people.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think Wendell is a great person to have on to speak about it, especially about his impact on Carnival. His experience through Minchell coming up Carnival Company. I think he'll be a great person to speak to. But I agree. I think that for generations of Trinidadians and Tobagonians, we have grown up hearing those stories, and those stories very often influence our own behaviors as children. And of course, learned behavior becomes your personal culture
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask you next, Minister. Is if you think that it was part of trying to control the way that you behave, to using fear in most cases. So like if you go out late at night and your parents want you to come back early, they will say your car come in, you had to come in the house, your car come in forward, you had to turn around and come
Gotta
in,
come
and
backwards.
all
Yeah.
them kind of things. And
Yeah.
do you think that was just a matter of social construct to be able to try and find ways to use stories to control the way that you behave?
I think you're right. I think anywhere in the world, every culture uses stories to either explain things that they can't explain, or to influence behavior. So you have to attribute a penalty for whatever behavior it is. Of course, well, it never happened to me. My parents never had to try to get me to come in the house at a respectable hour, being a good child. That was never my problem. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that it is something that we have always done. It is almost sad that now we have an entire generation, my children. They don't want to hear that. They see in whatever they have to see on YouTube and all the electronic spaces that they're in. And I think it's important. I want to congratulate you all for bringing this to the front, because it's important to still hold on to to our past.
But my
Yeah.
question then, Minister, is in that light of, you say your children, like my daughter's always on YouTube all day, every day, right?
Mhm.
And how important is it for us then to now put these stories into the form that they want to see it? Because I realize that that's what, like, let's say American culture, European culture, that's what they do. They put their traditional stories into modern day versions. We do it as well. We tell stories, and later on this morning we're also talking
Yeah.
to some people from Film TT about it, because we tell our stories and we use the folklore, but maybe we need to be able to find ways to reach
To
our
package
youth
it,
in the
put it
same
on
way.
YouTube. Yeah.
So, Rokas, I think that is kind of happening now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are a whole new generation of storytellers and artists. I know of one. Her name is Danielle Blaze, and she was doing comics based loosely, I think, on folklore, on Trinidadian, our local folklore characters.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who are doing it, and it is great because you get to repackage, repurpose, and make it palatable for another generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Not
you know
just
what?
people like you and me and Natalie who don't know about Twitter.
But you know what, Minister, when I even think of like the whole idea of Anansi, there are so many lessons to be learned in those stories, because
Exactly.
they're always life lessons. So even though if it's a story, of this thing, it's all who's always trying to trick people and to outsmart
Yeah.
people, is that when you learn the story, you learn how to address such people in real life as well. So I think even though these things are considered folklore, it's also an opportunity for us to learn life lessons through the storytelling about how we can address certain things.
Yeah, very well put on.
Minister, do you think that some of the folklore characters are metaphorical for people you may come across in life and should be wary of?
Like a ladder. Bless.
I think
Yes.
Lucas, I think that they are. I think that you're right, Carrie. I think those are, as Natalie was saying. I mean, they are, and I had alluded to it earlier. Those are the ways in which your grandparents and the generations before you built the mechanism for you to be able to for coping skills in terms of what you will probably encounter as a child, as an adult. So yeah, it's the reason that you will look at certain people and say, so and so is a larger bless. So
Yeah.
this person look like it could be a twin, But because you've created, it's not just the image, it's the it's the personality, it's the characteristics
and the behavior,
that you have formed in your mind,
I mean, we do believe that we have people in the country that we consider bloodsuckers, even if not physical bloodsuckers, because of the decisions that they make and the impact of those decisions. We do consider them. So, undercover you might say, look, that's Soucouyant. You know what I mean? So
I have a list of them, but I just wouldn't say it
here.
Why?
But Rockers, that is what Natalie wanted me to say.
Of course. I see she was setting it up. She was setting it up.
Correct.
No, No, but don't worry. I have my list as well. But I keep it in my head. I wouldn't want to write it like list of Soucouyants.
Yeah. We appreciate it, Natalie.
Yeah. Next thing you know, I keel over and somebody come and find it and be like, I make the list. You know.
That would be my fear. If I find out this and I am number 3 on the list.
Nah, you're not on the list at all. I promise you. And you know me. If I thought you were, that you just hush me mouth. All right, Minister, we want to thank you so much for sharing with us this morning. We're going to continue the story. Show the people your TTT cup because we lit.
You know, you have to back your side, Natalie.
I know.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit.
Guys, thanks a lot for letting me come on, though.
Yes, and thanks for being with us.
When you go to cabinet and thing, just remind all of them, right? Back your side. The cabinet alone, you can put with the number 1, right?
That list that you have? All right, Natalie. All right, Natalie.
Minister, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe, huh?
Same here, guys. I can't wait to see you guys in studio again.
In person, agreed.
Yes.
All right, Minister.
Keep good, everybody.
Take care.